Today is the eve of whatever day that it happens to be. I'm very grateful for this platform and for this good health to be able to open the space for those interested in Buddhism and spiritual practice to ask some questions and receive some guidance according to my experience of the truth. I have been living as a full-time meditator and full-time Buddhist monk since 2018, and it has given me the good chance to transform the mind from ignorance and attachment to mindfulness and detachment, to more and more understanding about non-self or no self versus self, to understand more and more about impermanence rather than permanence or fixedness, and to understand more and more about the nature of the body and the nature of the mind and the nature of the world to be that of unsatisfactoriness rather than satisfactoriness. For example, some kind of broken idea that a cheeseburger is going to enrich your life. A cheeseburger is just a cheeseburger. This body is just this body. This mind is just this mind. And if you have a cheeseburger or not, that is what it is. But the thinking that a cheeseburger is the solution or the means to satisfaction is illusory. So this is kind of talking about suffering that goes along with attachment and craving and seeking after something to satisfy our desires. So this will be a time when people or beings who are here have an opportunity to ask questions, and I'll do my best to share from my experience. First question coming in through TikTok is, how do I detach from fear? How do I detach from fear? You find a Buddhist monk and you donate a lot of money to them. Now, what that means more deeply and more precisely is that we have to approach the solving of our problems with generosity and through generosity. It's kind of like, and be generous here, it's kind of like getting an idea in your mind about astrophysics and then finding your nearest university and sneaking your way into the lecturer's hall and then asking your question to a PhD level astrophysicist. It's irrelevant. That's not the way to deepen our understanding. How do I detach from fear? We have to practice giving in the questioning. And in the case of the astrophysicist, uh, you have to give your time and energy and attention and heart and life to solving the problems that you are aware of. It's not a matter of asking ChatGPT for the solution or Googling it. It takes giving to be helped. It takes giving to be helped. And a lot of our fear is in grasping. A lot of our fear is in selfishness. A lot of our fear is in being stuck in possessiveness about an idea, a feeling in the body, a situation in life that we're not willing to use our lives to share or to give. And then we spiral dynamics into more and more grasping, more and more ignorance, more and more attachment, more and more suffering, more and more of being a hopeless and helpless lost cause. So if you look, for example, at the addicts on Skid Row, and I'm sure people in your life maybe going through drug addiction, or that you've gone through drug addiction in the past, or some kind of addiction, sex addiction, multimedia addiction, narcotics addiction, alcohol addiction, whatever it might be. What can't they do? They can't give. They can't give up. They can't give away. The nature of the depravity of their life and the insolubility of their problem is that they have lost the capacity to give. And many of us are like that, aren't we? We've lost the capacity, we've lost the relationship with making donations. When's the last time you made a donation? I'm asking. Let's hear it in the comments. We've got people here on TikTok. We've got people here on YouTube. When is the last time you made a donation? You may also share, what that was and what the context of that was. Evading taxes isn't really what we're talking about here. We're not talking about amounts either. And no vagity. Because those people that come in and say every day, or I'm always practicing mindfulness, I'm always practicing detachment, I'm always doing the right thing, they're usually liars. They're usually frauds. They're scamsters looking for a smack on the back, or a smack on the rear, and that's not what we're here to do. And it's another example, right, where we've lost our relationship with generosity. So we answer questions flippantly. We answer questions vaguely. We don't know how to give. We don't know how to share our experience. We don't know how to share just about anything. And we become the Trump-appointed judges of our reality. Who appointed you to make judgments? I'm asking. Who appointed you to make judgments? Did you receive training? Did you get an education on making judgments? Did you come from an ancestry of judges, and you've kind of taken on the position now, and you're going around and making judgments? I'm not talking here about making decisions, or that you have to go left, then you have to go right, rather than go right, then go left. But where did this idea come from, that you are to be the judge of others, the judge of the environment, the judge of thoughts, the judge of situations? Where'd you get this idea from? Thank you, Rose. Your kindness, your expression of kindness. Fear. Yes, fear. How do we deal with fear? Well, be kind to fear. Be mindful of fear. And kindness will allow you to detach. Follow up fear with kindness. I'm not talking about shooting a gun at fear. None of it, I mean, maybe some of the bodhisattvas or the very highly realized people have, um, kind guns, kindness weapons, but that's pretty advanced. So we follow up fear with kindness. And we don't exclude fear from our valid experience, that this is something I need to get rid of, that this is something I'm not allowed to feel, or that in me feeling this, I need to do this or that or that. No, we just offer kindness to fear at that moment, or in the preceding moment, or in the following moment. The more you can be mindful of fear, the more that you can detach from it. The more that you give, the more you can become skillful and wise in giving. Is it like that or not? Okay, let's go to the next question. From non-existent none. Ooh. Apologies if this question isn't polite, but as a monk, do you ever experience self-doubt? Do you ever wonder what life might have been like if you hadn't chosen this path? Or are you always content and happy with your state? Additionally, do you ever feel boredom? If yes, how do you deal with it? This is a neutron star. I am a neutron star. We think about I am a butterfly, I am a cloud, I am a nuclear bomb. I am the elephant's foot, and I'm the elephant's shit as well. This is it. This is your life, okay? Hey, this is your life. This is my life. Do I need to be a monk? Do I need to breathe? Do I need to go to South Korea? Do I need to wear a robe? Do I need to wake up tomorrow? All of that is a bunch of Hoktua nonsense. This is it. This is life. What cannot see that or know that is that already. This is your life. Okay? Don't be in a hurry. Those good intentions will bear fruit as long as there are actions involved and heart involved and mindfulness involved and depth involved, then those good intentions will bear fruit. Be patient. Don't be in a hurry. Don't be rough and tough unnecessarily. Okay, sometimes it is necessary. You know, I often ponder and I often wonder how to make the best use of this kind of this open door monastic experience. You know, I'm a monk devoting my life to being holier than thou, and I'm not allowed to be in relationships with women. You know, I'm 31 years old. I don't have a car. I don't have a house. I don't even have a scooter. If I'm constantly, I have to be thinking about the morality of what I'm doing constantly, all the time. I can't even go anywhere without thinking about that and being exposed as this kind of buffoon that's escaped from the insane asylum. You know, if I'm in America looking like this, shaved head, what kind of person must I be? You know, a lunatic, a deviant. But I wonder about how to make the best use of this platform so as to invite and engage mindfulness and detachment within myself. Of course, that's the main thing. I'm exploiting this YouTube channel. I'm exploiting this TikTok profile for mindfulness and detachment, for doing all kinds of good deeds. I'm using my followers for and with mindfulness and detachment to do all kinds of limitless good deeds. You know, good knows good, bad knows bad. But only the wise can perceive the wise. And wisdom is in openness. Wisdom is not in believing in things. Oh, I believe in this. Great. I'll tell you a good place where you can put that. So, believing is not as good as giving. Hey, why, not? Okay? Believing is not as good as giving. And I intend here to inspire faith so that people can stay connected and affiliated and concerned with me as I drag myself or my non-self up the mountain to higher and higher states of realization and transformation and wisdom and compassion. So, you know, newcomers or, you know, I'd love to make a video and thousands of people are watching it, but also it's very dangerous. It's intoxicating. It's like how, you know, There's so many people who are wishing for wealth. They want to win the lottery, or they want to get this kind of fancy car, and then they get in a car accident and they die. Or all of their friends, quote unquote friends, turn on them and are now exploiting them for money, taking out loans. So, as much as you can sacrifice yourself, you can sit in this seat freely. You can be a Dhamma teacher. And for some people, that may be a fool's errand. And for some people, that may be stepping forward off of the 10,000-foot pole of wisdom and compassion. So, in saying that this is it, you get to make the choice about how you decide to live your life. To make the decision if your wish is to be healthy and wealthy, or if your wish is to exploit, cheat, in a negative way, those who care about you. And you yourself, whether you like it or not, is the one that cares about you more than anyone else. So a lot of our work is learning how to heal. And in learning how to heal, we have to stop fixating on the profit and the loss. We have to stop fixating on the two poles of the magnet, and we have to actually embrace and face the magnetic field that is not someone, that is not something, that is not bound up or down in duality. Let's enter into the magnetic field for a moment. Now back to me being a monk, a good-looking, strapping even young man like myself being a monk. And I look on YouTube, I see all these, some of them seemingly lunatics, some of them seemingly, have some insight. People who aren't monks, so they can go around and do whatever they want and wear, I don't know what I would wear, maybe purple sweatpants and a tie-dye shirt or something like that, Native American clothing or something. So what am I doing uh, living like this, torturing myself like this? Isn't there a better way? Well, what I see in myself mostly is that I don't know. I don't understand who or what I am. I don't understand. And it's not to give special importance to myself, but special importance to the journey of looking. I don't really understand who or what other people are. I don't even know who my teacher is ultimately. So this this unknowing or this questioning feels supported, feels held, feels embraced by the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and my life as a monastic. And when I look at what I do know about myself, I know that I just want to be a good person, in not in a coffee shop way, hi, I'll give a tip. I want to be a vividly careful, kind, generous, considerate, watchful, righteous human being on this earth. And I want to give my life to others. What's my life if I'm just using it for myself? What a waste that is. This one here, put here. Okay. And this is as a social outcast and despot taking on the role of a monk. I don't see any teachers or wisdom examples more alive and thriving and functioning and kind of dynamos of spirituality. I see nothing even comparable outside of monastic communities. I see people who have kind of interesting things going on, like certainly Eckhart Tolle, and there's a non-dualist guy, Jim Newman. He's got an interesting shtick. But when I look at thriving communities uh, focused on wisdom, prajna, the truth, cutting through delusion, I don't see anything that compares. That doesn't even compare to Buddhism as an institution, as a community. So I want to be a part of that. And I want to be a vehicle and an access point for more people to be a part of that in whatever way they can. But it's not easy. And when I look at my options for why I would not be a monk anymore, or what I would immediately pursue upon not being a monk, probably some kind of comfortable place to live and finding a partner, being in a relationship. That's usually why monks disrobe, because they're can't handle their sexuality, so they're looking for someone else to do it for them. It's just pleasure seeking. And I know that that's not a proper direction for how to live my life. Okay. I'm not always content and happy, and I have all kinds of different feelings, and I deal with them by continuing on this path, showing up here and teaching and sharing and listening and opening up this platform for spirituality and get back on the grind. Continue with mindfulness and detachment. Re-engage in the path, re-engage in generosity, re-engage in following precepts, re-engage in repeating these things, re-engage in mindfulness and detachment now, as it is. Already. I tell you okay, so my experience of being a human being and a monk, emphasizing not knowing and emphasizing freedom moment by moment, emphasizing mindfulness and detachment concerned with the truth of not someone and not something and not some place, and being free to do good deeds limitlessly, whatever those deeds may be, as much as they are good, and to try and fail and experiment. There are not many places that are open to that. There are not many communities that are open to that. There are not many societies that are open to that. Even in Buddhist societies, it can be difficult to find that kind of environment. You can run into difficulties. And any spiritual seeker is an outcast from a materialistic society. Anybody who endeavors to give their life to doing good deeds with mindfulness and detachment is an outcast in a society that does not fundamentally value morality or mindfulness or detachment or wisdom or compassion or the teachings of the Buddha. So it's something we will all have to go through. And I think a lot of times people have these friend groups or social structures that seem to be very solid and reliable. And the moment that you, or just relationships, singular relationships, the moment that you go outside of the bounds of the expectations of that social group or of that particular relationship, everything falls apart. That person loses all kindness, all deep listening, all fluidity, all openness. And this is not the right time or the right place for that. This time, this place is open for mindfulness and detachment. That's not concerned with someone. When I'm sharing my self-identity perspective or experiences with the community, it's a trick. I am not someone. I have never, will never, and do not exist as a separate self-entity. Nor does anyone else. It's completely impossible. And I value this YouTube channel And I value this TikTok and this live feature, this kind of live function, because this is a space where that can be said, where that can be held, where that can be offered, where that can be received, I hope. And it's my, the side of myself or non-self that is a protector to make sure that that's available to the children of the world, um, to the people that I care about, to this body and mind for as long as possible, period. And to create sustainable environments where this way and this path can go as far as it can, as quickly as it can. You know, I had an experience not too long ago where I was sent by my teacher to go and manage our monastery, our retreat center that we have in the south of Italy. It's a wonderful place. And, I posted I was running a Discord at that time, and I posted to my other social medias that, we were going to try and raise $20,000, for that place. And we raised about $1,000, and, it's kind of something that can be useful for the daily needs of the center while I was there, and then moving forward for bills, electricity, and heating, and different things like that. And I got a lot of pushback from that. I got a lot of judgment. I got a lot of people saying, "What's going on? This monk's asking for $20,000 for his, for this monastery, for this retreat center. What's going on?" The reality is that that's nothing. We need millions of dollars. Bante, how much do you need to get this stuff started? 1 million. 1 million is a good place to start. I want to say billion, but actually I'm not making a joke. Million's a good place to start. For properties and land and all these kinds of things to support people and get people involved and make them feel secure. And there's a lot of spiritual aspects that go into making these places as well. Statues and imagery and ambiance and heating and the floor and all these kinds of things. So we're not used to these kinds of structures. And I see that a lot of the so-called spiritual teachers on YouTube or TikTok, still continuing with why I'm connected with Buddhism and monkhood, being a monk. What I see is that these systems are not open to building community. Whether it's the TWIM, I don't even know what this is. Maybe some people know what that is, TWIM, or also even the Soto Zen, Tassajara Zen Center, Upaya Zen Center, or Bhavana Society in West Virginia, or et cetera, et cetera. These are really limited places, and the approach of a lot of these spiritual teachers is also exceedingly limited. And the work here is not limited. We're looking to build hospital. We're building, my teacher, the tradition that I'm a part of. We're, thousands and thousands of people are being housed and fed and served. So I believe in this system as the most potent to help other people in the world. Buddhism and my life as being a monk. And, in terms of misuse or suspicion about misuse, you're the worst. We all have to take on that responsibility that we are the worst of the worst. We're the worst of the pile. Your greed, your anger, your delusion, your suffering is the biggest suffering in the entire universe. And how wise and compassionate are you to be free of that? And maybe you can't discern that, so how much work have you put on to being, free of that? It's not a very good metric, maybe I'll go into that next, but so what that is an invitation for is communication. We learn how to communicate, and we learn how important it is to stop making excuses about not communicating, about not reaching out. We're so afraid, and we get these, or we're frustrated, or we get these ideas, these prejudgments, these prejudices in our minds about another person or a situation or a group, and that keeps us from communicating. Even when we know those people are quite skillful at communicating. Even when we know to the best of our ability that these people care and want to help and want to do what's best. So we can't put all the blame, we can never put all the blame out there. It's not good to do it like that. It's disingenuous to do it like that. If you need to blame anyone, if you need to punish anyone, which is even a step worse than blame yourself. Punish yourself. And what I would say is don't blame. Don't punish. Nobody needs to be blamed. Nobody needs to be punished. It's not helpful. It's stupid and confused nonsense. Now, why should we be, why should we even, we're Western, we're American, we're electing Donald Trump. We know what's going on, we've got the things kind of figured out, Bhante, monk guys. So what's this whole thing about? Why do we need to talk with a monk or be in relationship with a sangha or a spiritual community, a tradition to develop on this path? Because we just, we've got to figure it out, kind of. So what's this? What are you trying to do? Well, the problem is that there are many, many, many people that have spent hundreds and thousands and thousands and thousands of hours devoting themselves to meditation, to studying Buddhism, to following precepts, doing all, deep meditation even, but they don't have right view. They don't know about the truth. And one of the best ways to know about the truth is to connect with someone who does. And if we are single-minded or kind of looking through a pinhole, oh, this person might know about the truth. Oh, I believe them. Oh, I've got it. I'm going to sit here for 20 years. You're very likely to get lost in tunnel vision. We have to have a wide view, a broad view about connecting with others that are concerned with the truth and that are having experiences concerned with the truth and that are open to communication, that have experience in community, that are connected to the Sangha, that are connected to a tradition, and not to be pinholed about it, but to explore. And you're not going to have success in terms of the truth and developing wisdom, in terms of developing prajna, in terms of developing amazing understanding about the nature of reality now, unless you give your life to it. And if you can't give your life to it, how do you think people get to the NBA? How do you think people get to the NFL? How do you think people get to soccer World Cup? They give their entire lives to it. So if you can't do that, you need to be concerned and connected with people that do, to the to the best of your ability, that you understand that they do, and then you communicate with them. I don't believe in I'll just tell you a story experience I had. There's some guy on YouTube. He's like a Soto Zen guy. He's supposed to be the bee's knees, and I reached out to him on Facebook Messenger, and I said, "Hey, Mr. Bee's Knees, I'm an American Buddhist monk. I've been doing this for 6 years. I'd love to have a call." Just shot out of the dark, shot out of the blue, and that person never responded to me. That person wasn't willing to open up, to have a call, to connect, to communicate. And I don't agree with that. I don't believe in that. Okay? Maybe that's why a lot of people don't reach out to me, because they know that I'm ready to go. Let's just not have a call. Let's do a little bit of arm wrestling while you're here. I'm not trying to hurt you, bud. Huh? So it's our lives. We make a judgment, we're making comments. I don't agree with that. Who cares what you agree with? Right. Who cares? Nobody cares, because that's using the mindfulness and detachment, not someone. Okay? A lot of people get caught up in contradictions. Well, wait until you hear about end. A-N-D. It can be this way, and it can be that way. It can be both, and it can also be neither. And it can be both, neither, and both, or whatever. Nothing. And what I'm trying to convey, and what I'm practicing in my life as a monk, is to take refuge in that way of mindfulness and detachment. And when I do these live streams, and when I go live and hold my hand out like this, I'm hoping somebody sends me some gold bars or something, or some rubies, or some sapphires, or emeralds, or something. Because I really want to invite people to not take this as a extra aspect of their ego identity, to put enlightenment in this corner of their mind or something like that. Okay? This is your life. This isn't a moment in your life. This is your life. And it's going to continue to be your life. So you have to make a choice. You have to vote. You have to fight. All right? You have to be ready to arm wrestle. You have to be ready. If maybe we have some women here, so we're not probably going to be arm wrestling. I've known some really strong women. There was some kind of Eastern European, wonderful woman, very masculine kind of woman at our retreat center in southern Italy when I was there managing it earlier this year or late last year, I don't know. And I almost wanted to arm wrestle her, because she had big arms. We didn't arm wrestle because as a monk, I'm not allowed to touch a woman or be touched by a woman. I'll confess that I've allowed my mother to hug me once or twice. But the mindset that we have to have here okay? And I'm holding out my hand to invite that mindset, all right? Is that you you need to be ready not just to arm wrestle, not just to grip up and arm wrestle. You need to be ready to wrestle with this life, with mindfulness and detachment versus ignorance and attachment. This is no game. This is no laughing matter. This is not the philosopher's corner. Okay? You keep your tea, you bring me your teapot, smash it. You understand? And that's for what? Is that for violence? Is that to be big and strong and cool and people to be impressed by you? No. It is to emphasize the importance of cooperation, collaboration, communication, protection, feeding others, housing others, giving medical care to others, starting a garden. And it's bing, bang, boom, back. It's just never ending. All right, think of it like this. Who's been watching the Mike Tyson Jake Paul fight? Confess. Who watched the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight, boxing match? Who watched that? All right, listen closely because this is a big deal. This is direct. Okay, you're going to understand this if you can open up, take all that nonsense out of your ears. Now, who is Mike Tyson? Mike Tyson's the baddest ever. The biggest bad in his prime. He was out of control, ripping and roaring, the dynamo, the king of masculinity or boxing or whatever you want to call it. The big black king. Okay? Mike Tyson is a black man. I support black lives. They matter. And the history in this country is nothing to be proud of. And pride is something very difficult to get rid of. So, we shouldn't be too judgmental with each other. Only like very highly enlightened people don't have pride. Okay, please keep listening, following along, right? Mike Tyson, the king of kings for punching and strong and big and bad, all right? In his prime, undefeatable, etc., etc. Now, who's Jake Paul? Jake Paul's some Ohio social influencer guy. He's eaten a lot of food. He's taken a bunch of steroids. He's 27 now. He's got, he's strong. He's fast. He's done some boxing training, all that stuff. He's a nobody. In the boxing world, he's nobody. He's nothing. Okay? Now, Jake Paul at 27 could have killed Mike Tyson in the ring. Right? I mean, if you saw this, if you watched it, I mean, he was completely had to hold back and he could have killed him because Mike Tyson is now what? 57 years old, something like that, 60 years old. But in his prime, and it's not that we all want to be fighters, but that power, that skill, that dynamism, that life force is undeniable when Mike Tyson was in his prime, whatever it might be, right? And value, there's a value in there. We don't even know what it is, but clearly there's a value in it. The body is dying. The body is not reliable. You are not your body. The mind, you is also not mind. Okay, you is not mind or not mental phenomena. You is not you. I'm 31. People are very, I'm doing my best here. What I'm trying to say, and I'm saying it, is that when it comes to spirituality, when it comes to training the mind, when it comes to developing the powers of the mind, just like Mike Tyson developed the powers of his body in his prime, the mind does not have a prime. The prime of the mind is timeless. So the depth of wisdom, compassion, power that can be developed, just like Mike Tyson was only 19 or 20 or whatever when he was in his prime, right? He was already the best of the best. That's just a starting point for the mind. And it develops and it develops and it develops and it develops and more and more and more and more. So real meditation masters, real masters of the mind, real highly realized people who are continuously training and developing their mind have a capacity of an ability to fix problems, an ability to untangle knots, an ability to heal, an ability to resolve, an ability to transform that is literally uncomprehendable to you. Incomprehensible. So, we have to identify pride and arrogance and complacency when it arises, and we need to be careful not to justify our complacency with where we are now as a self view or self perspective as an ultimate. That is how we continue to deepen our training. That is how we continue to practice mindfulness and detachment limitlessly and continuously, by not putting ourselves into a box and not putting others into a box either. Whatever color, creed, religion, whatever planet they may be from. Only mindful, only detached to the very root of ignorance. Pull it up, pull it, you get a hold of it, rip it out. And we do that with the support of the community. We do that with the support of the Sangha. Otherwise, it's just not realistic. So when you come across someone, anyone, who presents a sense of spiritual authority from a ground of complacency, they seem to be presenting that, don't follow those people. And really, a lot of the Western spiritual sphere is not impressive at all. A lot of these people are not impressive. They might be more realized than me, I don't know, but they're not impressive compared to people who give their entire lives to this. And somehow in this, okay, there's two dimensions here. One dimension is just this. Just this. Just the nature. Okay? The ever new impermanent nature. Sparkles. Rain. Plasma. Okay? It's a dimension for sure. I mean, that's what it is, right? But we're also human beings. We're boxers. We want to fix problems. We need help. We need, right? So don't be shy about engaging. And if you're trying to engage with someone and they're unwilling to engage with you, they're not a boxer. They're not a part of this cloth. That's what I would say. And when we do engage, we can see, oh, this person is not in good faith. Or this person is very kind, or they listen very deeply, or they're generous. or they don't know much about what they're talking about, or they're trying to lead me into a trap, or they're trying to help me, right? And sometimes we get frustrated. Someone's trying, how dare you? But it's wonderful if someone's trying to help us. That's lovely. And actually, we should be more open to allowing and facilitating others to help us, to give people the chance to help us. And that's something, that I have on the project list for later on. But right now, I'm um, too busy to think about that. Not that people aren't helping me, but just there's in some ways you can practice monastic life in a almost like you restrict what you are able to do, which doesn't necessarily restrict what you're willing to do, and then you have to rely on others that are invested in or interested in you or concerned with you to enable you to do what you're willing to do but cannot do because of restrictions that you've placed on yourself to do. There's a lot of positive points to that. There's a lot of protection in that. But it can be limiting. And I'm limited enough in my anger and greed and delusion and my ignorance and attachment. So reduce that a little bit, then other avenues open up. We're planting seeds for a new community, and this is a tough sell, isn't it? There's a song from Joe Riley. Anybody who doesn't know Joe Riley, and the song, it says, we're planting seeds for a new community. It's time to wake up. But the most wonderful results of seeds take years. Raise your hands. Who doesn't want to plant a mango tree? My hand's going down. Who doesn't want to plant durian trees? Hands going down again. Blackberries, raspberries, fertilized with the compost of a meditation community, not only the extra food or the wasted food, but the very feces of the monastic sangha. A durian plucked and nourished with the feces of bhikshus and bhikshunis from around the world, and lay people and nuns and all kinds of different things. Who wouldn't want that durian? And I say, you can make a choice, but you got to try it first. I think that's fair. Right? People make a choice, they don't try. I mean, what's that about? That's the the sound of water. So what I'm pointing to here is that it takes time. It takes years. So not to be in a hurry. And when we think about a durian tree or a mango tree, and I have to give my condolences to the Americans here, because a mango or even a peach that you will get in an American grocery store, like normally, that's not a real peach. that's not a real mango in general. Sometimes there's always exceptions to everything, but in general, that's not really what I'm talking about. All the, that's coming from soil where all the nutriments and nutrients have just been wasted out, and what you're getting is this kind of, unripened, calcified, full of pesticides and just a nightmare fruit. And you're giving that to a child and saying this is what a mango is. It's not a mango. Who doesn't want that? And so that seed, once it's planted, and that time of growth, and then all the nourishment that goes into that growth, how active that is, how alive that is, how vibrant that is, how transformational that is during that entire period of time. And then you get the fruit. So we also need to be more open to that transformational period with our engagement, with our practice, with our training, with our generosity, with our collaboration, with our communication, with the protection that we offer each other. With the hand that we put out. And if you put emeralds and rubies and sapphires in there, you're not going to see me complaining. But we have to learn how to give our heart, our value, our depth, our sincerity, and we need to make sure that we're taking responsibility for our mental, physical, and verbal actions enough so that there's actually a value in this life as it is, not as it could be when we go to get a cheeseburger. And it's a realization of the alreadiness of the value that is. Not something, not someone, not some place, not some time, not some situation, not some experience. Really. Incomprehensible, uncomprehendable, limitless, limitlessly beyond your understanding, limitlessly beyond the very notion of you being someone, being somewhere, completely. Gone, gone, totally gone beyond. Aha. And nobody gets that. So that's Shakya Muni Mantra by Lama Jia Yong, is an artist and, as far as I know it, a Tibetan monk living in China. It's a deep teaching and a very important teaching that no body, not someone, not something, is very about and of mindfulness and detachment. But it should never be a reasoning for that which defaces or harms in any way or is destructive in any way to the self. This is an advanced practice. It's difficult, and we will, in this path, commit self harm under the ideation of renouncing ourselves or seeing through the illusion of ourselves. We'll definitely go through that. Um, and so it's kind of that there's a twofold process that we're going through here. And one fold of it is that we are embracing the truth, which is beyond our understanding, our comprehension, our notions of anything at all, right? So it's that you're a complete buffoon, you're a complete lunatic, that you should be bound and chained to freedom so that you can recognize it, right? But that in the process of that, a lot of what we're doing, especially as Westerners that come from a broken social system, we really need to emphasize healing. And we conduct healing by taking refuge in those who are kind, those who are gentle, those who are compassionate, those who are generous, those who are open to listening and open to sharing. And we learn to trust ourselves that way. We learn to trust ourselves by taking refuge in those who are more experienced than us. And that's not just a responsibility for those people who are more experienced, that may be in a spiritual leadership role as a monk or a nun or something like that. But the impetus is then on the people who are skillful in some other way to get more involved in those communities and organizations and to take on those roles of helping where there may be a blind spot for the spiritual leader. As Americans, we tend to have a very cynical view about community and social structures, not so much because individuals in general are dangerous, more so because the social structure that we have been raised in and maybe our ancestral social structure as well is dangerous and violent. But if you look towards the ancestral structure of many aspects of Confucianism or many aspects of Buddhism, such that you'll find in South Korea or China, or China that kind of uprooted Buddhism, or Myanmar or Thailand or these other places, not to unnecessarily aggrandize them, but there's a real potency of tradition related to virtuous conduct, to generosity, to wisdom and compassion, to developing these. And so we need to be more humble to be able to develop that within ourselves, making use of these other cultures and societies, and along the way, kind of as best we can, exploiting capitalism, exploiting the American industrial complex, exploiting the stock market to create abundance. Because, like I was saying earlier, $10,000, $20,000, that's wonderful, that's great. Let's have a good time. But what we need, is really in the millions to develop the infrastructure of a new community based on the principles that one will find in Buddhism, based on mindfulness and detachment, and based on sharing, caring, cooperation, communication, protection, and a facilitation of healing and spiritual development. So, uh, I I've given up all other sports. Not that because when I grew up, I moved around a lot. So I never had the opportunity or the chance to become skillful in any sport. But what I really like now, I'm an arm wrestling guy. I'm an arm wrestling monk. I'm a big fan. I'm a practitioner, a lazy practitioner. I don't train that much, but I do really like arm wrestling. And if you ever meet me, I'm happy to arm wrestle you, unless you're a woman. Um, and that would be different if I was um, not who I am, not a monk or whatever. Yeah, and just be flexible. It's not a do or die thing. Yeah, there's nothing worth fighting over. Work on the goodness and the mindfulness and the detachment within yourself, and trust that others are also working on that. And then when something comes up, we can talk about it. Okay? Let's say a little prayer as we finish. May abundance reign like the waves of sand. May all living beings in this mind be at peace, and may they receive the Dhamma. May the mind of the Buddha pervade everywhere, internally and externally, and may all living beings be brought wholeheartedly to the shore of peaceful liberation. May it be, may it be, may it truly, truly be. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, don't be shy. Reach out if you have any questions.